was something to behold here, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, Mac?
Once again, their defense dominated. We saw them dominate in the first round against the Chargers. They took advantage of some issues on the offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers, and they took over for 4 quarters.
The Patriots enter this discussion with heavy momentum, and the spotlight naturally falls on Drake Maye, who has been performing at a level close to MVP territory. Even so, their defense cannot be ignored because they're playing some of their strongest football in the most crucial stretch of the season, stepping up exactly when it matters most. Drake Maye has looked like an MVP caliber talent all year, but this particular game was easily his toughest outing of the season. Despite the giveaways and moments where he was a little loose with the football, the team still managed to grind out a victory, proving their resilience in high-pressure moments.
I'm Michael Holley. Lots to take away from this game. We'll start with Phil. What'd you see?
What a program victory for Mike Vrabel in his first year. To be able to go to the AFC Championship game, it is just absolutely mind-blowing that any of us are watching this situation play out the way it's playing out right now. And to watch this game play out the way it did today, you saw a ton of mistakes.
He'll need to tighten things up when the Patriots head to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos next week, especially with how intense that environment becomes under playoff conditions. But even in a shaky performance, he still finished with a quarterback rating of 100.7, which shows how consistent his season has been overall, losing his left tackle. Will Campbell didn't help at all, and while he may not see players like Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter again this postseason, the challenge doesn't disappear. Nick Bonito is still a serious threat, and that means protection and timing will need to be sharper moving forward. Now shifting to the New England Patriots defense, what they accomplished cannot be overstated. Because the Houston Texans struggled to consistently complete the forward pass, New England stacked the box and shut down the run game with authority, forcing Houston into uncomfortable situations, snap after snap.
They made life very, very difficult for C.J. Stroud. When they weren't creating interceptions, C.J. Stroud never got comfortable in the pocket. And we knew their offensive line, the Houston Texans, that is, would have issues because they've had struggles the entire season, to say the least. But the way they got dominated today, JJ, it was unbelievable. I mean, they couldn't run the football. Woody Marks had 14 carries for 17 yards. He basically, a yard a carry.
That same defensive strategy may show up again next week against the Denver Broncos, especially with a backup quarterback like Jared Stum stepping in. Loading the box, tightening coverage, and controlling the line of scrimmage might be the exact formula New England leans on in another must-win showdown. If the New England Patriots want to make a real push back to the Super Bowl and keep this momentum alive, the offense will need to deliver cleaner football from here on out. Their defense is carrying weight, but the offense must trim down the mistakes to compete at the highest level when every snap matters. The numbers highlight the issue clearly. In the wildcard round, Drake Maye had 2 fumbles with 1 lost. In this game, he finished with 4 fumbles, losing 2 of them. That's 6 total fumbles in just 2 playoff games, and that pattern simply isn't a winning formula for a team trying to chase a championship. Even so, this remains a major learning stage. It's only year 2 for him, and he's heading into Championship Sunday just like Bo Nix should have been, and as Jaden Daniels did a year earlier. That entire quarterback class is showing something special, proving they can rise under pressure and grow fast in big moments. Going back to the conversations from week 1 of this season, the questions were clear. Yes, everyone wanted to see Drake Maye develop, and yes, progress was expected, but was there enough talent around him to support a deep run? Over and over again, this team has answered that question with strong execution and visible development across the roster. The Patriots haven't just shown that there's enough talent. They've shown that players have improved dramatically over the past 4 months. Watching how they've adapted, stepped up, and locked in on the new challenges ahead has been impressive, especially as the stakes continue to rise with every week of postseason play.
Drake Maye has played like an MVP caliber player up until this game. I thought this was Drake Maye's worst game of the season. And they were able to win in spite of that, right? Yeah. The giveaways, he's been a little loose with the football. He's going to have to clean that up when they go to Mile High and play the Denver Broncos next week. But that said, look, he still had a quarterback rating of 100.7. That's how great Drake Maye has been this season, right? And obviously, it didn't help that his left tackle, Will Campbell, he may not see a guy like Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter moving forward, right? But
looking at the young quarterback, the same question kept coming up at the beginning of the season. Is there enough around Drake Maye? But when a team has a truly strong quarterback, that player elevates everyone else through efficiency, smart decision-making, and the ability to create plays when the situation breaks down. That's exactly what the Patriots are seeing. A quarterback who makes the surrounding talent look sharper, more confident, and more capable, even under the brightest lights of the postseason. There are still serious concerns surrounding the offensive line, especially the entire left side, because Will Campbell struggled heavily last week against the Chargers and the power of Khalil Mack. Everyone expected it to be a challenge, but the matchup turned into a tough performance for Campbell, and now things get even harder with his first ever road playoff game protecting the blind side. But even with that concern, the development across this roster has been impressive. Veterans and younger players have stepped up in ways that changed the entire rhythm of the Patriots offense, with names like Stephon Diggs showing a revitalized spark and Hunter Henry making steady, reliable plays that kept drives alive at crucial moments. For the past year and a half, the conversation centered on how badly the Patriots needed a star wideout, and whether they should trade for someone like Brandon Ayuk or A.J. Brown. Yet the current group has stepped up majorly. Kayshon Boutte producing, Stephon Diggs finding his rhythm again, and Williams Douglas delivering highlight plays like his touchdown today. The tight ends, including Hooper and Henry, have become reliable threats, making key catches and helping stabilize the passing game when things get choppy. And honestly, this type of comeback season for Stephon Diggs wasn't expected by many after the knee issue, but he delivered a strong all-hands catch for the touchdown and proved he still has serious impact. Then there's Rondre Stevenson, who struggled early in the season with ball security, constantly putting the rock on the turf in September. But Mike Vrabel kept trusting him, kept giving him the carries, and that faith paid off as Stevenson delivered 16 carries for 70 yards today with stability and strong movement in tight spaces. Trayvon Henderson continues figuring things out faster each week, showing the type of growth playoff teams depend on. And while Drake Maye still needs to protect the football better, the players around him stepped up and helped carry the weight, making sure the mistakes didn't derail the entire game plan. The Patriots won because their supporting cast stayed sharp, disciplined, and mistake-free, helping stabilize the offense even during shaky moments. And now, with the top 3 seeds locked in across the league, the conversation turns to how quickly teams like Vrabel's Year 1 squad, Peyton's Year 3 group, and McDonald's Year 3 culture in Seattle have reshaped their locker rooms. New England prepares for the conference championship with real momentum, heading into a tough matchup against the Denver Broncos next week. But before looking ahead, the Patriots can confidently say they handled business today, taking down the Houston Texans 28-6 and keeping their postseason run fully alive. That highly praised defense didn't always look as dominant as advertised, but the Patriots defense delivered a tough afternoon for C.J. Stroud, making every drive feel like a battle full of pressure and frustration. The entire crew was on deck covering the action. Phil Perry, Tommy Kern, 3-time Super Bowl champion Ted Johnson, and Michael Holley bringing insight to a game full of twists. Phil opened the breakdown by calling it a program-defining victory for Mike Vrabel in his first year, and it truly felt that way. To see this team heading to the AFC Championship game is shocking in the best kind of way, especially with how unpredictable this season has been and how much they've had to overcome across every position group. Watching the game unfold, you could see mistake after mistake from both sides, yet New England managed to push through and take control when it mattered most. They forced the Texans into uncomfortable situations, created turnovers, and used every defensive advantage to push the momentum toward their side of the field. Drake Maye had some chaotic turnovers that could have shifted the entire vibe, but he also delivered some big-time throws down the field, launching touchdown passes to some of his best receivers with confidence and resilience. It was a mix of rough moments and explosive plays, but he kept the offense alive long enough for the defense to clamp down and secure the outcome. This game stands as a clear, defining Mike Vrabel program victory, the type of win that sets the tone for an entire era. It came in the snow, giving the matchup a classic throwback feel, yet everything about the performance signaled a new direction for the franchise and a tougher identity forming right in front of everyone. Houston showed up exactly as expected on defense, forcing the Patriots into tough situations all afternoon. New England finished just 2 for 10 on third downs, and their second conversion didn't come until late in the game when Kayshon Boutte made that incredible one-handed grab that swung the energy back in their favor with a burst of momentum. That catch symbolized what this season has become. Players sticking around, growing into bigger roles, and making moments count when the pressure spikes. The newcomers also left their mark, whether it was Kaleon Chase making disruptive plays, Milton Williams creating inside chaos, or Carlton Davis locking down the perimeter with disciplined coverage. Down the stretch, it became impossible not to notice Morgan Moses and Michael Wen holding the line snap after snap, giving New England enough stability to run behind them during a crucial late-game drive. Even though that possession ended in a punt, the control they showed in those moments was a major turning point for the clock and the field position battle. Like Phil said, it's stunning to think this team is heading to the AFC Championship after everything surrounding year one under Vrabel. This wasn't just another playoff win. This was the Patriots marching into a freezing, brutal divisional round and sending a message loud and clear. Yeah, we're back and we don't give a damn who's in front of us. The final score was New England 28, Houston 16, and it felt even tougher on the Texans than the numbers show. What makes this performance so impressive is the context, because this first-year group already looks like it has been forged in a competitive furnace, built for hostile environments and high-pressure moments. Not polished, not pretty, but tough, structured, and absolutely engineered for January football. And you could feel that intensity with every snap. This win wasn't luck, and it wasn't the result of a wild bounce. It was a team playing with the confidence of a roster that fully expects to be on this stage. The Patriots moved like they belonged in the AFC Championship game from the opening whistle, bringing an attitude that demanded respect and set the tone instantly. If you want the real reason the game swung so sharply, it starts with the Patriots' defense, because they didn't just win downs. They took control of the entire rhythm of the Texans' offense. This unit delivered a defensive performance that bordered on ruthless, locking Houston out of comfort at every turn with relentless pressure and tight discipline. They made CJ Stroud uncomfortable from the first snap to the final whistle, finishing with a stat line of 20 of 47 for 212 yards and 4 interceptions, including one that went back for a pick-6. That isn't a rough outing, that's a defensive dismantling that takes away confidence and rhythm in the blink of an eye. Every time Stroud tried to settle in, New England threw him right back into chaos with collapsing pockets, tight throwing lanes, and defenders breaking on routes like they'd seen the plays before they unfolded. It was the perfect blend of discipline and pressure, aggressive but controlled, smart but explosive, and designed to squeeze every inch of space from Houston's offense. And here's the part people might overlook. The Texans were missing key targets such as Nico Collins with a concussion and Dalton Schultz with a calf issue. The Patriots sensed it instantly, tightened their coverage, shut down the run lanes, and forced Houston into a hesitant, limited version of their usual attack. What makes this even more impressive is that New England pulled this off while their own offense had rough, messy stretches. This team didn't fold under mistakes or panic under pressure. They stayed steady because they're no longer fragile, and that toughness is becoming their strongest identity. If the idea is to pretend Drake Maye played flawless football, that's not the case. He didn't play clean. He threw 3 touchdown passes, but Houston's rush managed to force 4 fumbles, and 2 of them were lost. Those are the types of errors that can end a season fast against elite competition. But here's what deserves real credit. New England didn't collapse under the weight of those mistakes. They didn't panic, didn't lose their composure, and didn't allow turnovers to define the direction of the game. They absorbed the hits, recovered their balance, and kept throwing punches because true playoff teams don't need perfection. They need resilience. This is where the Vrabel effect shows up clearly. Under his guidance, the Patriots have transformed into a squad that can win even when the game turns ugly, chaotic, and unpredictable. And despite the messy moments, the offense still delivered the critical touchdown throws that kept Houston from believing their turnovers would turn into a comeback. New England advances, and they advance with confidence, toughness, and the look of a team built for the biggest moments of the postseason. The league just got hit with another shock, because even though Denver walked away with the win, the loss of Bo Nix completely shook the entire AFC landscape. His injury means the Patriots might be stepping into the AFC title game with the momentum quietly shifting in their direction, creating a whole new level of intensity heading into the matchup. Denver survived Buffalo 33-30 in overtime, but moments later the news broke that Bo Nix suffered a fractured ankle and is officially out for the season. Now Jarrett Stidham is expected to take the reins, and that instantly changes the tone of the upcoming showdown, because losing your main quarterback this late in the season is a massive blow for any team. Nobody is handing New England anything, and they shouldn't. But if you're Denver and you now have to face this Patriots defense without your QB1, that's a serious problem. New England just put CJ Stroud through 4 interceptions, nonstop pressure, and 0 comfort, and that type of defensive dominance doesn't happen by accident. Drake Maye handled the situation with real class when asked about Nix, refusing to celebrate his injury and calling it heartbreaking while saying he's praying for him. That type of response shows true respect in a sport known for being as cold and unforgiving as it gets during playoff season. The real takeaway is simple. The Patriots aren't just winning games, they're building momentum, identity, and intimidation with every snap. They look like a team that finally understands exactly what it is: tough on defense, steady under pressure, and sharp enough on offense to take advantage the moment you lose focus. Next week will reveal everything. We'll find out whether New England's defense is simply riding a hot streak, or if they're about to drag the entire AFC into a tough, gritty showdown that pushes every opponent to their limit. The energy around this matchup is rising fast because the stakes just exploded.